$200 billion. That's the massive number Samsung and Broadcom put front and center when they announced their new partnership in AI semiconductors. But here's my take. Compared to the sheer size of that number, the actual substance of this deal is still almost invisible. Today, I'll break down the distance between the flashy headline and the reality of the agreement from an industry insider's perspective. Hello, everyone. I'm Ty, with 31 years in the semiconductor industry. In today's video, I'll walk you through what's actually inside this $200 billion partnership between Samsung and Broadcom and sort out what we can genuinely read from the announcement and what we can't. By the end, you'll have the skills to read big, splashy news announcements calmly and critically, instead of taking them at face value. As always, let's start by translating this into a familiar, everyday story. In a certain town, there was a company that produced custom-made boxed lunches for big corporations. Its specialty was designing exclusive menus tailored to each client company's tastes, and it was hugely popular. Corporate cafeterias at major firms were lining up for its services. Meanwhile, in the same town, there was a long-established general food company. This company's strength was that it could handle everything in-house, growing the ingredients, cooking the meals, and even plating them beautifully. Normally, you'd have to hire an ingredient supplier, a kitchen, and a plating specialist separately, but this company could take on the whole job as a one-stop shop. One day, these two companies signed a written promise saying, "We expect a huge volume of business between us over the next 5 years," and announced it with great fanfare. But if you read it carefully, this is not an official purchase order. The amount isn't confirmed revenue either. It's merely a projection. It's at the stage of, wouldn't it be great if we could do this much business together? A shared goal, nothing more. Look even closer, and you'll notice something else. The ones who actually order the lunchboxes are the big corporate clients sitting beyond the lunch producer. Which company's lunches will use which ingredients and who will pay how much? None of that has been decided. And on top of that, the announcement was made at a Chamber of Commerce ceremony with the mayor in attendance. And here's one more thing. The only company posting this promise letter on its own website is the General Food Company. There's nothing on the partner site at all. In other words, this isn't an official order. It's still at the stage of a declaration. Let's do big business together going forward. Now, let me explain concretely how this simplified story is actually playing out in the real semiconductor industry. On July 25, 2026, Samsung Electronics announced that it had signed a Strategic Memorandum of Understanding, an MOU, with Broadcom for next-generation AI infrastructure. Over the 5 years through 2030, the scale of cooperation is expected to exceed $200 billion, centered on memory and foundry services. To be clear, this is not a formal purchase contract. It's positioned as a memorandum that sets out a framework for cooperation. Broadcom is a U.S. company with a powerful presence in custom AI accelerators, chips designed exclusively for individual customers like the cloud giants, as well as in semiconductors for high-speed data communication. As more and more cloud giants develop their own dedicated chips tailored to their AI services, Broadcom has rapidly gained strength as the company handling those designs. This partnership is a vision to combine Broadcom's design capabilities with Samsung's strengths in memory, manufacturing, and packaging. The deal has 3 pillars. First, Samsung will supply advanced memory, including HBM, for Broadcom's AI accelerators. Second, Samsung will apply its cutting-edge process technology, 2 nanometers and below, to Broadcom's products. And third, the two will link everything from design to mass production, including advanced packaging. In AI semiconductors, it's not just the compute circuits that matter. The performance of HBM, which feeds massive amounts of data at high speed, determines the performance of the entire system. So this combination itself does make genuine sense. The stage for this announcement deserves attention, too. The MOU was signed on July 24th local time at an AI summit in San Francisco, attended by South Korean President Lee Jae-myung. The Korean government has explained that as an outcome of this summit, cooperation worth a total of $950 billion will move forward over the next 5 years in the semiconductor field alone. Now, here's the heart of today's story. Some media reports ran strong headlines that could easily be read as Samsung has won a $200 billion deal. But when you read the primary source, the original press release, this is an MOU, not a confirmed order. And the figure is a projection, not a confirmed amount. There is real distance between the headlines and the original text. First, let's look at the memory supply chain. The announcement never actually says that Broadcom will purchase HBM from Samsung. In custom AI semiconductors, the choice of memory is heavily influenced by the end customers, the cloud giants. If procurement ends up scattered, with one customer choosing Samsung and another choosing SK Hynix or Micron, then the meaning of two companies declaring a massive cooperation figure between themselves becomes much weaker. The same goes for Foundry. The specific example named for applying processes at 2 nanometers and below is semiconductors for high-speed communications. It is never explicitly stated that Samsung will manufacture the compute portion of Broadcom's custom AI chips, and whether advanced packaging is even included in that $200 billion figure isn't clearly spelled out either. So reading this as an announcement that full end-to-end production has been decided is, in my view, going too far at this stage. So if this MOU does have real substance, what would it be? My read is this. It may be a plan for Broadcom to prepare, together with Samsung, a common manufacturing and packaging platform that can be used across multiple customer projects. Even if the compute circuits differ from customer to customer, standardizing the memory interfaces, the packaging, and the mass production flow would make it possible to roll the same foundation out across many projects. There's one more context you should keep in mind: politics. This announcement was one of 6 agreements that the Korean government presented as diplomatic achievements of the summit. SK Group also unveiled roughly $750 billion in cooperation with NVIDIA, Microsoft, AWS, and others, including a letter of intent with NVIDIA for AI infrastructure worth over $500 billion. In other words, it wasn't just the companies. The government, too, had a strong motive to showcase big numbers. Furthermore, as of the morning of July 26, 2026, no matching release can be found on Broadcom's official investor relations site. The text reads as a joint announcement, written in both companies' names, yet only Samsung's newsroom has published it. This asymmetry also tells me that rather than a confirmed order, this is an announcement painting a big picture of future cooperation possibilities. Now, what does this mean for Japan? If this vision of providing memory, manufacturing, and packaging as one integrated package actually starts moving, it could expand business opportunities for the Japanese materials makers and equipment makers that support each of those process steps. That said, the details are still taking shape, and for now, we're at the stage of waiting for individual project announcements. The stronger this trend toward integrated one-stop supply becomes, the more important the technologies that connect one process step to the next will be. That's how I see it. Here's the single most important thing I want you to take away today: how to deal with big headline-grabbing announcements. Is it an MOU or a formal contract? Is the amount a confirmed figure or a projection? And who is actually the buyer? Just checking these 3 points will dramatically change how the news looks to you. Next time you run into a flashy headline, please remember this checklist. Let's wrap up. Samsung and Broadcom signed an MOU projecting more than $200 billion in cooperation through 2030. However, the actual buyers, the target customers, and the breakdown of that figure are all still undecided. And the announcement also carries the flavor of a diplomatic achievement for the Korean government. The size of the number and the substance of the contract are 2 different things. The real answers will come from the individual project announcements that follow. That's all for today. I'll keep bringing you semiconductor news and analysis. So if you found this useful, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. This has been Ty on Semiconductor News Decoded.